Right, welcome back, wonderful people. This is Mr. Ndabezita once again, and this time, what we are going to deal with is a collection. But in this collection, we are going to build upon the animal class, the list of animals tutorial that we had. So I'm going to build on top of that. I'm going to introduce more classes which are generic. So I'm going to deal with a generic class and a generic interface. And it's going to be a little bit more complex, but not that difficult, just a little bit more complex, so that you may see exactly what we can do with this. And this plays a very significant role in your second year information technology study. So let's go right into it now. Previously, we created a class which was called animal. It was abstract, and from there, right, let's continue in this. So we have this abstract class animal. This is what we had previously. I have explained in one of my lectures what is really happening in here. So you can just go to that lecture which is called an array list of animals, and all this is explained. And then chicken inherits from animals. All the public fields and methods exposed by the animal will be as if they are in here, and cow does exactly the same. Now let's build on top of this. Let's go inside of animal, and let's have an abstract method. So the method will be public, it will be abstract, it will return void, and it will be let's call this make noise. Sorry, make noise. So let this be an abstract method that we have inside of our animal. So it is public, abstract, it returns void, it's called make noise. And every class that inherits from animal must provide an implementation of this method. And if we hover over here, chicken does not implement the inherited abstract member animal.make noise. And let's try to do that. So the method inside of animal is public, and because that's the first occurrence of that method, we are overriding that method which returns void, and the method is called make noise. Very good. And what I'm going to do in there is to just have a right line that just tells us let's just say whatever the name of the animal is, it's a chicken. Let's say the chicken says cluck. So this will be the type of noise that a chicken would make. Let's go inside of cow. It will be public. We are overriding the base method which returns void, which is called make noise. So I'm going to use the fat arrow once again, and I'm going to say whatever the name of the animal is says moo. Very good. So this would be the type of a noise that a cow would make. But this is not all what I want us to do. Let's go inside of our folder. Let's add a class, and this is going to be a generic class, and this would be a farm. So inside of a farm there are different types of animals. We have chicken for now and a cow, and there are some manipulations that we want to do inside of this farm. So this is making a lot of sense. to name this class as a farm. So the class is going to be public because I want to instantiate this class, but the class is not going to inherit from an animal. This is going to be a generic class of type T. So when you instantiate a farm, you will specify the type there. So remember, this is a class and I want this class to inherit from I enumerable because there are some methods that I need inside of those interfaces that would be able to look through inside a collection and be able to print whatever that I want. So if we stand before the first one, it says it exposes the enumerator which supports a simple iteration over a collection of a specified type. This is not what I want because I'm going to create a generic one. So I'm going to go to the second one and it says it supports a simple iteration over a generic collection, and this is exactly the type that I want, and it will also be of type T, and I'm also going to add a constraint in there to say okay, where that type inherits, it inherits from animal, or it has to be of type animal. Very good. So I'm having two things there. I'm having a generic class and also a generic interface. This is very important that you notice this, and this is going to become very clear as we continue why I want to do this. But as you stand in here, you can see that there are no, this is not the one that I want. So I interface, let me I enumerable. So let's stand in here. You see system.collections.generic I enumerable of a specified type. Let's go for that one. And if we stand in here, it says farm T does not implement the interface member I enumerable, and also we are not implementing the interface member I enumerable.get enumerator. So there are two types here. It exposes the enumerator which supports a simple iteration over a collection of a specified type. That is why I am picking this one. You need to be very careful which interface you want in there. So there are two implementations that I need to do. Alright, that is fine. So what I'm going to do is the following. So I'm just going to say here and farm. Right, and then what I'm going to say in here is to say okay, I enumerator, I am implementing the first one. So I'm going to say I enumerator of that specified type, capital T, and I'm going to say in there let's get the enumerator, and I'm going to use the fat arrow there. Now there's a problem in here because it has to loop through inside a collection of a specified type, and for now, because farm does not inherit from animal, I'm going to have some problems in here. I need to find a way of returning something, and what is it that we want to return? So as for that reason, I'm just going to have a comma. Let's just leave it for now, and you're going to see what I'm doing in here. So that is the first one. Let's say the first one is fine, and as we stand in here, let's go and try to implement the second one. I know the implementation is not fully implemented there because there are some manipulations that I'm going to do, but let's go to the second one, the I enumerator, and there is a get enumerator in there. I enumerator, you go to get enumerator. Very good. And then we are going to use the fat arrow again, and then I'm going to say in the, let's say get enumerator, and let's use the dot there, right? And let me see. Okay, I'm having I enumerator, get enumerator, and let me just wait first. I think what I can do, let's come in here and let's create a list, a private. Let's create a private list, and this will be a list of that specified type, and I'm going to call this a list of animals, and I'm going to instantiate this list, new list of that specified type. Very good. So I'm creating a private list which I call animals, and I'm instantiating that list of that specified type, and I'm going to create a public property of a list. So I'm creating a public property of a list, and I'm going to call this, the caps lock seems to have some problems. Okay, so I'm going to call this animals, and what I'm going to do there, I'm going to get, and I'm going to return this private list of animals. Very good. So what I'm going to do there, I'm going to stand in here, and I'm going to say animals dot get, dot get enumerator. Get enumerator there. So this is just a method, get enumerator. Very good. So this is just a method that will be able to traverse inside of my private list and be able to get that for me. There's an import that I need in here. I need to say using system.collection, because you have collection.generic, you must have a system.collection. Right. Secondly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say I enumerator and I'm going to say get enumerator, and I'm going to use the fat arrow there, and I'm going to say animal dot get enumerator. And I think there's a problem here. I'm going to try and do the following. I enumerator, let me come here and say I enumerable dot get enumerator. Yes, and I think everything should be fine now, and the error should just disappear once this is done. So I have provided an implementation of those two methods. T does not implement the interface I enumerable get enumerator. We have already done that. I enumerator of a specified type, get enumerator, and this should be just fine. Okay, let me do this. I enumerator of that specified type, and I'm going to say get enumerator, and when I do this, I should be able to say animals dot get enumerator, and everything should be fine. Let's see if the error will disappear. Okay, let's see what the problem is here. I enumerator, did I choose the correct one? Let's check. I enumerator, very good, of that specified type. And if these are implemented, the error should disappear as a sign that everything is fine. Let's make this public. Very good. So there we are. So guys, please be very careful. This one has to be public, and it must be a generic one. Very, very important. The I enumerator has to be a generic one, and then you say get enumerator, and then it will return for us a private list. So what is this? This is just a property that would be able to allow me to access whatever that is stored inside of my private list. So that is why I'm having a private and also a public. But the first one, which is a generic, must be public. Right. Now that we are fine in providing the implementation there, I'm just going to leave it at this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a class. And I'm going to call this class super cow. And what I'm going to do there, I'm going to allow a super cow, because a super cow is a cow, therefore it's going to inherit from a cow. And I want you to see the beauty of inheritance and code reuse. I'm going to have a public super cow, and what I'm going to do there, I'm going to pass a string name, and it will call the base, which is the cow, and the cow will pass in the name there. Very good. And I want to show you something. This should be just fine. Right. What I need to do in here, I am going to allow supercow to have its own method. So let's have a public method that returns void, and we're going to call this method fly. And I'm going to use the fat arrow once again, and I'm going to have a right line, and I'm just going to say let me just try to sit tight very well. What I'm just going to say is whatever your name is flying. Yes. Or let's just say whatever your name is says here I come to save the day. Very good. So this is what a supercow would do. And please notice that inside of supercow, I didn't have to provide an implementation of this abstract method. Why? Because cow does that. And if cow inherits from animal, so it will be as if that method is inside here, because it is public. Very important that you watch that lecture of Mr. Ndabezeta, which is called an array list of animals, and then it explains exactly the basics of many things that I've skipped in here. So now I'm building on top of that. So you will need that lecture in order to understand fully what transpires in here. So I think I am fine. So let's go back inside of the farm class. The class is public, very good, and we have provided an implementation of whatever that was required. So what I want us to do, let me just check if everything is happening well. So what I want to do inside here, let me think. I want to instantiate a farm. So let me say public farm, and I'm being very specific here to say the type will be of type cow, and I'm going to call this let me call this dairy animals, right? And this is equals to a new farm of that specified type. So I'm creating an instance of a farm which is generic, which is specific to a cow. So meaning I want to extract only those animals which are of type cow. Inside of this farm, please retrieve for me the methods which are only of those which is a cow, and you're going to see how this will work in the main. So now that I have an instance of a farm of type cow, which is called dairy farm, what is it that I want? I want to traverse inside of this collection, only selecting those animals which are of type cow, and then I want to return them. That is exactly what I want to do. So in order to do that, I'm going to use the quickest one, which is a for each loop. Where is the for each now? It seems like the for each is running away from us. We don't have access to the for each loop. Let's see what the problem might have been. Oh, there's a problem, you see. Oh Jesus, the mouse now is beginning to do unacceptable things. So let me just close here. Right, so let us try to continue in this, and what I'm going to do is the following. So when we are in here, what I want to do is to say, okay, dairy, we have created an object instance of dairy farm, but when I'm trying to access this, it doesn't show up, and there seems to be some error in here. Let me just try to see what might be the cause of that. Public, okay, dairy, it doesn't appear. So even if I say, why is it doing this? Let me check. Everything seems to be fine. So why when I say dairy, animals, and I'm going to equate this to Okay, let's stand in here. Sorry, guys, the mouse. Let me stand in here. Public farm. I'm specifying the type cow, and I am instantiating, creating an object instance of this. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Ush. Why am I unable to access dairy? Why is it not appearing there? Because what I want to do, even you see the for each loop is not even there. Okay, let's do the following. Let's say animal there. Alright, let's say animal there. Right, and then let's say dairy. The same is still happening. I don't know why is this. So there was no problem here. Let's get back there. Everything is fine there. Let's say cow there. And what I'm going to say there, because I wanted to say dairy, there seems to be some problem. Okay, let me check, guys, what really is happening here, and I will so that we can continue in this. All right, I think what we should do, guys, in here, let me put this. Let's try to create a method. Let's create a method public let the method returns an object. So I'm going to say farm of that specified type. Okay, and I'm going to say, in fact, you see, when I do this, okay, let it be a method that can return a cow, right? And when you say G there, you'll see get cows. So let me have a method, it's public farm, and it's called get cows. And let's do this. So here I'm specifying the type to say inside of a farm I want only to get those animals which are cows or of type cow. And let me do this because I'm trying to see where the error is here. And then when I am in here, I'm creating an object instance of type cow. Right, and then what I'm going to say there, I'm going to say let me take let me close. What is happening here? There we are, very good. So this one has to have an accompanying closing curly brace. Let me do this. Okay, let me do this. Right, let me do this. Right, and let me say farm, and let me specify, because I'm getting cows, let me be very specific to say the type there will be cow, and I'm going to do what? I'm going to call this dairy cow. Ish. Let's just give it some time to load up. Right, this is equals to new farm of that specified type. Very good. And I'm going to say dairy. There it is now. Dairy cow. In fact, what I can do when I am in here, I can run through using a for each loop. Let me run through inside a list of animals and select only those animals which are of type cow. So I'm going to say for, and I'm going to say T animal in that private list, inside of that private list, because I'm in the same class. So a private list of animals. So remember, that's where I have my list inside. So let me run through inside there, and what is it that I want to do when I'm there? I'm creating this object so that I can save those animals inside of this object. So what I'm going to do there, I'm going to run a check, because now I am inside a list of those animals inside of my private list, and I need to select which animals are of type cow. So I'm going to run a check there, and I'm going to say if animal is a cow. This is exactly what I will say. If an animal is a cow, what is it that I want to do? What I want to do, if an animal is a cow, what I want to do there is I want to have access to the methods, only those which are of type cow. So I'm going to say in fact, let me say animals dot in fact, let me say animal dot animal dot, because I want to have access to this property in here. And how can I have access to that? Now let me go to dairy farm. What I want to have access to is this property, because it is a list. It will allow me to only add those animals which are of type cow. So I'm going to use my object instance. So I'm going to say dairy cow dot, you see now what I have access to, animals, which is a property dot. There has to be a method there which is called add. Very good. So I'm going to add into this object instance only those animals which are of type cow. So I'm going to say add, and I'm going to add an animal as a cow. Very, very important that we understand that. And what is it that I'm going to do then? As a cow. Right, so I'm saying dairy.animals.add animal as a cow, but there's a problem in here. There's a problem in here. Okay, that is fine. Let me see if things will happen the way in which we want. I'm going to add that as a cow. Can I come here and use the dot? Can I use the dot in here? No. What I want to do there is the following. Okay. When I exit, let me just return dairy cow. Very good. So let me just return that. And let me see. Let me see something. Right, so we are saying if animal is a cow, then it will do that. But what I truly wanted to do there, let me do the following. Let me say dairy cow equals get cows. Right, let's do this, and when we are done, I think yes, what I'm doing in here, I wanted to I want to do something in here, guys. Let me show you what is it that I want to do. Okay, let's just leave it here. Let's just get rid of this. I think I will find a way as to how to access the other methods. So all we are doing in here, we are running through a list of animals, and if that animal is a cow, then we are adding and then we are returning that. That's fine. Now there's something else that I want us to do here. I want to have access to some methods in here. I want to have access to make noise. I want to have access to lay eggs, and I also want to have access to milk. And now there's a problem because I am inside of farmhouse, and farmhouse does not inherit from animal. So I need to find some ways to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say public void, and let me just take this. And what I'm going to do there is the following. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy this, and what I'm going to do is to come here, and what I can do there is paste. Right, and what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to run through a for each. And why am I having these methods inside here? Because I'm going to instantiate a farm. That is why I have to bring in all those methods that are inside of animal and bring them inside of a farm. Because by doing so, remember, animal, which is chicken and cow, inherits from animal. So farm does not inherit from animal, but it is a generic type where the type is of type animal. So I need to bring in those methods and provide an implementation for them inside of my farm. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to run inside of a farm. So I'm going to run inside of a farm of animals. Let me check so that I don't have a redundancy. So animal in animals, and what I'm going to do there, I'm just going to say animal dot, and you see what I have access to now. Make noise and feed, because those are the two methods that are inside of animal. Let's go and check that. Inside of animal, we have make noise and feed. But remember, make noise, you have to provide an implementation for that, and we have already done that. Chicken and cow has done that. A farm doesn't have to do that because it doesn't directly inherit from an animal. It's just a type where the type is of type animal. So I will not have an error in here. It's very important that you understand this. So that is why these methods are able to appear here. So yes, this is what I want. And then secondly, I can copy this. Sorry, I can copy this and I can paste it in here, and I can just change the names. The other one is a feed, so I can just come here. What is wrong here? Okay, so let me just come here and say feed. Very good. And let me just change the method name there. Let's check what the method name is. Feed. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake in here. So let me just say feed. Very good. And in here, dot, I don't want make noise, but I want, what is happening here? There's a method there called feed. Yes, let's check. So it will bring me all the information of those animals which have been fed and all those animals which makes noise. Right. So from there, what is it again that I want? I think this is all what I want. I have been able to select only those animals which are of type cow, and I can also select only those animals which are of type chicken. So I can just copy this and I can paste this. And what I can do there, I can just say, okay, only those which are of type chicken, and I can just get chickens here. Get chickens. Very good. And I'm going to so in here I need to specify that it's of type chicken. Very good. And in here it's also of type chicken, and I can say add as a chicken there. right, and it will add an animal as a chicken, and it will return for me the let's not say dairy cow, let's say um, an egg farm, right, and then it will return for me an egg farm. This is exactly what happens. So here I don't have to say dairy, I have to say egg farm.animals.add, and it will select only those animals which are of type chicken. And what else do I need to do? Yeah, I think everything is fine. This is all what I wanted to do and show you guys. Now let's go to the main and test. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create an instance of a farm, and remember it has to be of type animal. So being of type animal means it can be a chicken or it can be a cow. Please note that. Capital F, very good. And I'm going to call this, okay, let me do this, let me say farm, very good, so that the import is automatically generated for us. Why is it not showing? Sorry, farm, this import has to be there for us automatically, very good. So I'm going to say animal, it's of type animal, and I'm going to call it animals equals new, reserving memory for that, and we are done. So let me just have an access to a few things maybe that might be exposed by an animal. So I'm going to say animals dot, and you see what I have access to. I have access to feed and get chickens, get cow, and what else? Let me look at feed. Okay, feed, let's check make noise, there it is. So let's just have access to that. In fact, let's create first object instances. Very, very important, we must have object instances of type animal. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say animals using a property animals dot animals. There it is, a property. When you press the dot, you should be able to add there. So I'm going to add a new chicken. I'm going to add 6 things. So I'm going to say, okay, the first one, let's just use random names like Lee as the first one. Copy this, and I'm going to paste 6 times. Very good. And the second one will be a chicken also, and I will call this Z. And the other one, it's going to be a cow, and it will be one, and another one will also be a cow, and I'm going to call this John, and I'm going to have a super cow now. Sorry, super cow, because a super cow is a cow. This one will be Jackie, and another super cow, and this one will be Arnold. Right, now let's just have let me just paste something in here. Let me just say using static system dot console. And what I want us to do there is the following. Let's just have a right line, and the right line will just say to us let's just wait for it. Let's just say there are this much. There are maybe 5 objects inside your collection. Right, so let's come here and say animals dot animal dot count. So the count will return for us how many animals are inside there. So I'm just going to copy this. Let's just wait for this and paste. Right, and let's just print that. And what I'm going to do there is the following. I'm going to say animals. In fact, let's check first whether we have some animals inside of our collection. Let's see whether the ad was very much successful. It has to say 6. Let's see whether things are happening the way we will want. Let's just give it some few minutes. Okay, it's taking longer than I have expected, but let's just hope after a few just seconds it will be fine. Okay, let me just have a pause, and when it is done I will be back. And there we are. Let's just check whether things will happen the way we want. So it says to us in there, let me check, there are 6. In fact, let me do this. Let me just do this. Let's run this again. Right, there are 6 objects inside of your collection, which is very true. I would agree. So now let's see how we can have access to every method that is inside of every object. So I'm going to come here, let me go a little bit up, and I'm going to say animals using that object instance dot feed, and all those animals, 6 of them, must be fed. And I'm going to have a right line, and this right line is just going to draw up a line for us, and I'm going to say again animals dot make noise. These are only the methods that are inside of the animal class, just inside of the animal class. And let's run this and check what would happen. So let me run this. All those 6 animals must be fed, and they must all make a noise if our methods are very successful. So let's check. 6 of them has been fed and 6 of them makes a noise. Let's check. Right. Okay, that is fine. Now, how will I have access to the methods such as fly and everything? Right, let's come in here and check something. Okay, we made use of this and that is fine, but we also want to have access to some few methods like get cows and get chicken. But there's another method that I want in here, and that method is, okay, let me show you what I mean. We can come here, let me just copy this and paste, and I'm going to say farm, and now I'm going to specify this is of type cow, and when I am in there, what should I call this? Only cows equals new farm cow. Very good. And what I'm going to do there is let's check something. Look, I have a method there which is called get chickens and get cows. It's public farm. I specify and I say get cows, and it shall get whatever that I want there. So let me come here and say in fact, let me come here and say okay, it's fine to say only cows and this is equals to can you say get cows there? No, you can't. So what I'm going to do there is the following. Let me use the dot there. Can we use the dot? No, we can't. Can we do this? Get cows? No, we can't. So what is it that I want to do here? Now let me instantiate that and only say okay, only cows equals new that, and I'm going to say um I'm trying to say only cows there. Only cows dot. Let's check get cows. Let's look what this method would do. Let's just look at this. Let's run this and see. Let us just try to check exactly what we can get from. Right, wonderful people, let's run this and see what really would transpire in here. So let's just try to see what the output would be. And nothing is printed out. When we try to call this method, nothing is printed out. So let's go and check why. So we go inside of farmhouse and we look at get cows, and it returns an object there. So how do we access that? Let's use a for each loop and see how we can do that. So I'm going to come in here, and what I'm going to do is to get rid of this. And what I'm going to do is to say, okay, for each, and now I'm going to be very specific there. I'm going to say animal. In fact, I'm going to say, let me say cow in only cow. And I think what I can do in there is the following. I'm going to say, in fact, I'm going to say if cow is super cow, what is it that I want to do? I want to I think this is going to be very problematic. Let me say animal then. Let me go inside of animals. Will this work? Let's try to see if it will work. Oh, okay, I didn't give it a name. Let me try first by saying cow. Cow. I'll just call this cow in only cows, and I'm going to say, okay, if cow is a super cow, then I'm going to say only, I'm going to say only cow dot get cows. Let me just do that, and let me do this and see if this will work. And I'm going to use the dot there. This is going to be problematic because this is a method. Let's see. Let's go in here and let's see that method, which is called getCows. It is a method that accepts no arguments. So in here I need to accept no argument, and let me use the dot there, and let me check methods like fly. I don't have access to fly, so how do I do this? Let me do this. I think I should do the following. I think I should do the following. I think what I should do in here, if cow is a super cow, then let me do the following. Let me say cow s cow as a super cow dot. Yes, and when we use the dot there, I now have access to, you see, to fly and milk. You see, now it exposes methods as methods like milk and fly. So this can be quite confusing sometimes. It requires that we do some of the mistakes and learn from those mistakes and improve on that. That is why we are having this interactive learning. So let's see if this will work. Let me just wait for this. So what am I saying in here? Because when I try to invoke that method, which is called getCows, it is unable to do so. So what I do, I create an instance of farm which is of type cow, only cows, and then I'm running for each loop, and here only those which are of type cow, and call that cow in only cows. Remember, and then what I'm doing, because when I do this, remember there's a method there which returns an object. And where is that method? getCows. It returns an object. So what I'm doing in here, I'm creating an object, and I'm saying if cow is a super cow, cow is a super cow, and you need to box or whatever there, cast, and then when you press the dot there, then you will have access to fly. Very important. And then we can also have an if statement again. We can say if cow is a super cow, and then we can say cow s a super cow, and we can use the dot there, and we can have access to milk. There are other ways in which we can achieve this without even using a for each loop, by specifying the index where, by using casting, we can specify the index where a certain animal is, and we can be able to print this, and I'm going to show you how we can do that. So this is a for each loop that will run through and do what we want, and we can run another one, so meaning I can copy this. But before we can do that, let's just run this. Let's just run this and see what will transpire. So once it gets out of this, where is our for each? There it ends. So let's just try to run this and see if things will happen the way in which we want. So let's see what is happening here. uh, so this is a for each loop, and it should be able to print out those uh, methods in there. Oof. So let's check what is happening inside of this for each loop. So let's run it for the second time. And as we run that, nothing is printed out. Why is there nothing that is printed out? Let's go and check what might be the cause of that. Let's see what has happened now, because we should be able to loop through inside of cow, the type there. If cow is a super cow, this is what we want, and if cow is a super cow, this is what we want. Cow as a super cow, and this should be able to print out something for us. I don't know why. Sorry, it's not doing that. I honestly do not know why. Let's run this for the second time. And nothing is being printed out. Okay, let's go inside of farm. Let's check this. Where is that? Here it is. That's fine. There is a method get cows which returns this, and we are adding as a cow then. So this is very correct. This is highly and highly correct, and we are returning that. And here we are getting chickens. Let's check if everything is fine. Everything seems to be fine. Everything seems to be fine then. Okay, let me check this. Oh, we have a problem. Can you see? This is internal and it has to be public. So let's make this class public. And now things should be fine. So let's run this and check. But still we are having a problem. Let me go inside of supercow. Let me just check. Everything seems to be fine, and everything also seems to be fine in here. And in here I specified the type. Inside of my for each loop, the type is cow. You see? So everything seems to be fine. And also here I specified the type then, not in here. Where is it? In here. So I have specified the type. I'm dealing with the cow. Okay, let me get rid of this one. And let's run this and check. And it's still not printing out anything. We are having a problem now. We are having a problem now. Let me check something. So what if I equate this to get? So what if I come here and say, for example, animals dot get cows. What if I do this? Will things work? Let's check. Let's check whether we will have some errors or maybe everything will be fine. And then let's see if this is going to work. So let me do this. Let's see. And there it is. Jackie says here, I come to save the day. Arnold says here, I come to save the day. So where was the problem? After I have passed in a type there, an object instance, because this method returns an object, I need to save it inside here. So I can also come here and say if cow if cow is a super cow, then I can be confident to say cow as a super cow dot milk. And only those animals which are of type cow must be milked. Let's see if it will work. Let's see if this will work. And then it says Arnold has been milked and Jackie has been milked. Can you see that? So it seems to print everything just fine. And you can also investigate with this one, get chickens. You can just come here, create an instance of chicken, and then say animals dot get chickens and equate it to this, and just run this and see if things will happen just fine. So this is something worthy of noting, something that I wanted to share with you wonderful people. These are the lectures of Papa Fanzo, the mighty mathematician, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial. So the other way, remember I said I'm going to show you this, what you can do if you want to have access to the other methods, not using a for each loop. Yeah, I can come here and I can cast. You can say for example chicken, and you can say animals. You have to be very careful here. Chicken is at position 0, and you can use the dot there. And what you can say there, let's see. You see, now you have access to lay eggs, feed, make noise. You see, so you having access to all of those methods, and they will work just fine. You don't have to use a for each loop. But remember, this is very useful because if you want to add another animal inside of your collection, things will be very easy for you to print out. So you can also do it in this way. The choice is truly yours. So this is where I'm going to end our lecture, and I will see you in the next tutorial.